Welcome back. Here today, I'm sharing a recent production release by a company I know nothing about. Model number P01, or more commonly known as the Beluga. Manufactured by the budget brand Petrified Fish, this is my first experience with PF, and I'm eager to see the company's design execution, then give my take on the knife. With a handle length of 4 72/100ths of an inch, the initial release only offered G10 scales priced at $46. For a whopping $2 increase, the second run added micarta to the handle options, which I'll give a shout out to the big dog, Love Them Knives. I believe this came from his direct feedback and input, which is what I ordered and what you see here. Simple and straightforward, the scale's top and bottom body lines, both flat surfaces running at an elongated arch from front to rear, forming a neutral handle shape. There's plenty of real estate for finger placement with all grips feeling non-restrictive and natural. Designed by Nashorn knives, the Beluga has some very interesting engineering going on. Starting with, it's designed to function with two different pairs of washers, phosphor bronze and the factory installed ceramic bearings. The folder uses a steel liner lock that isn't nested but does have massive weight relief milling. The pivot brace has also been milled into the frame's inner wall, and the pivot is D-shaped, preventing free spin. The backspacer's design allows the rear body screw standoff to double as a lanyard pin and a hidden out-the-back lanyard slot. The pocket clip is similar to all recent Civivi models, but Nashorn knives got it right. Instead of milling a section out of both scales' outer wall, the scale has a notch on the inner wall, which keeps the clip's mount concealed. By running the mount underneath, this allows normal dome screws to still sit flush with the handle, eliminating that bottlenecking in the clip's rear area. The Beluga has two means of deploy options, the primary being the front flipper tab that at first looks to be very flat and pointy at the end, but I will admit it works very well and ups the bill's fidget factor. Due to its irregular shape, I can deploy the blade via the tab many different ways. Slow rolled, slapped, or light switched, the reach around, and my very favorite, the index knuckle knock. The jimped area along the tab is the only jimping on the entire build, and it's non-aggressive, so the flat surface is not a problem. The secondary means of deployment is the fuller, that extends the entire length of the build's grind. The fuller's deploy is so smooth and addictive, plus the ceramic detent is set correctly, holds the blade just enough to get a good authoritative flick and solid lockup behind the blade mass. The Beluga ships with the bearings installed and the tune is locked in. The blade may appear big and heavy, but it isn't, and at only 140 thousandths of an inch, it's identical to an Unuzan's blade thickness and the width of an XL Natrix. This broadness allows a full flat grind enough length to taper down, ending in a very thin edge. A direct result of the tune and much less to do with the sheer blade mass, in my opinion. The closing is slides shut with little to almost no friction. After break-in and I wear tracks into the race areas, the action will become even smoother. Comprised of K110 steel, the blade comes in at 3 63/100ths of an inch, is a sandblast finish, and is sporting a drop point shape. With an overall length of 8 63/100ths of an inch, the Beluga's clean look isn't broken up by a tab or thumb stud. Everything seems to flow seamlessly from blade to handle. Initially, I didn't understand the non-nested liners, but the tight tolerances between the blade and liners may have caused some issues if the liners sit beyond flush, so this makes perfect sense. A couple of nitpicks that don't make much sense is the use of a black coated clip and not a sandblasted finish. Now offered in a black stone wash with black hardware, this clip fits the new variant's color scheme, but coupled with the high polished screws, it looks out of place. And next is the overly excessive billboarding, starting with the pocket clip. Its bold, contrasting, and rather large text running majority of the length is very reminiscent of an SOG's pocket clip, and it definitely cheapens the overall look. The blade's show side sports the running rhino, which is the Nashorn knives maker's mark, and of course the PF machined into the pivot. The rhino and the pivot are both cool, and I believe that's where they should have stopped. The non-show side reads both blade steel and model number, which, to be fair, Petrified Fish does this on every older model. And I gotta thank the knife gods that they didn't spell the entire company name letter for letter down to the copyright logo like they do on a lot of their other models. The Beluga is a winner in my opinion. The overall size and weight is good. Build construction and durability is fairly high, and the design execution is amazing for the price. These little nitpicks I personally have can be easily removed and resolved, so the Beluga is definitely a home run. And if this is Nashorn knives' very first design, I can't imagine how good number 3 or 4 will prove to be. Hit the like button and share the content. Comment below with your thoughts on the Beluga and definitely sub to the channel. And with that, I'll be signing off from the Fuller Fanatic.